Greetings, Architecture 2 and Practicum. This is another Revit certification video for your certification test, and it is about ramps. And whether you have taken the Revit test and passed it or not, I still want you to do this one. There will be something to turn in for this. So you'll need to kind of follow me along and turn in some evidence that you actually practiced this. First thing you'll do is you'll click on open, not open, but new, do an imperial architectural template, click OK. And then you're going to save it and then name it. And I'm going to name this one my name _ ramps. Save. All right, so to do a ramp, first thing we need is we need something to ramp from the ground to the ramp level. So I'm going to start with a floor, a generic floor. I'm just going to go ahead and edit this one, duplicate. It's going to be a 4-foot concrete. Okay, and click edit, change this to 4. Change this to concrete cast in place gray. Come on, there we go. All right, and then I'm just going to draw a boundary. I don't have any walls to click on, so I'm just going to use the line tool. Just draw something, let's say 50 foot by 30 foot. Give us plenty of room to play there. And click OK. All right, now one thing we got to check is that typically when you build a floor, it's going to build it from the reference line below. Okay, so we need to actually be at the reference line above. So it's actually at level 1. Height offset is 0, which means it is going to be from that 0 line, level 1, and below that. It's going to be 4 feet below level 1. I'm going to change that to 4 feet so it will rise above level 1 and be a concrete surface. Okay, and I can double check that. I'm going to click on my south is good, and there it is. It's right there. It is above level 1. 4 feet. Okay, it's a 4-foot thick slab, 4 feet above level 1. Okay, now if you draw it and you look at this and you see that it is below level 1, then you need to change it to above level 1 by putting 4 feet right here. All right, now I hope that was self-explanatory. And you might want to take these and just slide them out of the way. Don't delete them. You still need them. Just slide them out of the way. Give yourself a little more space to work with. And the ramp tool, ramps, of course, are for, they're, typically for handicapped people or people who have trouble walking and stuff like that. And there's some codes that go along with this that you have to be aware of. And they are in the code manual. Go to resources and then up codes. All right, we're going to go to residential code. And we're going to go to building planning. It's under means of egress and stairways and ramps right here. Ramps, maximum slope. Okay, so maximum slope, ramps serving the egress door required by section R311.2. And what that is doing is just pointing us to another paragraph in the code manual. We can actually click on that and go to that paragraph and read what it has to say. But what it's referring to is just a standard door opening for a residence. Okay, and it shall have a slope of not more than 1 vertical unit in 12 units. Okay, so it's just like rise over run is what that is saying. So let's take a look at that. Now I'll finish reading the code here because there's other applications too. So all other ramps shall have a maximum slope of 1 unit per 8 units. So at least as long as we have that front entrance, that main entrance at a 112, and then if we need to do a back entrance, we can actually have that at 1.8 if we need to. But again, when it comes to building a house for someone who's in a wheelchair, you need to talk to them because they may not want either one of these. But these are basically the minimums. Okay, these are the minimums. So they can have a much shallower slope. Commercial establishment is what you have to worry about. Now, let's say the house is a rental house or is a duplex where you know you're going to rent out one side or the other, or an apartment complex, then yes, it would have to follow code because those are considered public places. So let's get to Revit. So ramps, real simple. There is a ramp tool. Okay. And the ramp has some default settings, which we are just going to keep it at. Okay. And there's actually more settings once you go into edit type. You can actually change the material. Let's change the material. Let's change the material to concrete, cast in place gray. This will be a concrete ramp. And maximum incline length, we can just leave that like it is. Maximum slope, we're going to leave that like it is. Now, these are the two places where you can make adjustments. Okay. For the test, mark this, put it in your head. Your adjustment is going to be made right here where it says ramp max slope 1/x. It's going to be made right here. Real easy. They're going to tell you what to put in there. Okay. That's how easy it is. But it can be confusing if you've never worked with ramps. So I'm going to just leave everything like it is for now. And I'm going to go ahead and draw my ramp. Now with ramps, you have to start at the bottom, which would be at the level surface, level 1, and then go up, just like stairs. When you draw your stairs, you're starting at the bottom and going up. Now, this is kind of inconvenient for ramps because you want the ramp to actually come up to the surface right here. But you're just going to have to draw it out and then move it into that location. So there we are. We have a ramp, 30 foot of incline ramp created, 90 feet remaining. I'm not sure exactly how to read that, okay? Because we had it set for 30 feet and it has drawn 30 feet. What they mean by 90 feet remaining, I don't know, unless they're talking about, and I think I just figured that out. I just thought of it. If you look over here in the constraints section, between level 1 and level 2, that is going to be, that's basically how far I would have to drag that out to make it up to level 2, but we're not going up to level 2. Now, again, this is another place you can make adjustments. We're just going to leave it like it is for right now. I'm not sure if we're going to actually use that to make these adjustments or not. All right, so now that you've drawn out the 30 feet of ramp, you're going to click the green check mark, and it says the ramp is not long enough to reach the top constraint. That's perfectly fine, because we're going to move it up to where we need it to go. Just going to get it right there on the edge, and we'll drop it right there. Okay. Now, to make sure it is adjusted properly, we're going to click on a section tool, and we're going to draw a section right through here. I probably drew that a little bit too long. I don't know. Shrink that down a little bit. And now let's go into it and look. All right. It does not come quite up to the top of the 4-foot surface. So we do have to make some adjustments. All right. So here I am. I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on edit type. And to get it to go up higher, okay, so right now it's going 1 unit in 12. Let's try to do 1 unit in 8. Click apply. And then OK. That gets me up there. Okay. Close, not quite all the way. So with this, you really just have to play with it to get it where it needs to be. So I need to go up a little bit higher. So I'm going to say 1 unit in 7, which if you haven't guessed already, I'm actually going beyond the code, but I'm just showing you how all this works. Okay. So maybe it's not 7. Maybe it's like, let's see, going backwards. Maybe I need to do 7.5 or something like that. So I just go in here, edit type, 7.5, apply. Does that bring it down or does that take it back up? There we go. It brings it almost, that's perfect. All right. So now since I'm right there, I'm going to use my arrow keys to bump it over a little bit closer. And that's perfect. So you have to play with it to get that part of it done. Now, remember I said it's got to be 1 unit and 12. Okay, so we're using feet, or we can even to take a closer measurement and use inches. However we do that, we're going to go to annotate and draw a detail line. Okay, I'm going to draw 12 inches this way. So this is where it's almost just like doing rise over run. So I need to get 1 inch from there to the ramp. I'm over 1 inch, so I am beyond code. It's up too high. So I would really need to make this ramp a little bit longer to reach the 4-foot height. And of course, that might just require me just deleting the ramp and drawing a whole new one. So let's do that. Let's go back to level 1. Select the ramp, and we'll just go ahead and select the section view as well. Okay. All right, so we're going to draw another ramp, and we need to increase the length of this, or I'm going to show you the easiest way to do this. The easiest way to do this, go back to the south level, and let's put another level on here. I'm going to get out of that. So clicking on level, we'll find, of course, it's 4 feet. So we're going to measure 4 feet from the base level line and just draw this level out. Of course, if I were making this as a regular part of my job, like a regular or a project, I would have a name for this, and I might call this, maybe floor level. So maybe the floor is not at level 1. The floor is at floor level, which is 4 feet above the ground. All right, so going back to our top view, we're going to click on the ramp tool again. All right, and this time it's already set for me. It automatically assumed the next highest level. So now it's, level 1, and then the top level is floor level. If I wanted it to go to a different level, I would change that. Maybe I did want it to go to level 2, so I would just change that to level 2. But I don't want that. I want it to go up to the top of the concrete. So it's going to be floor level. And I shouldn't have to offset it any. It should go perfectly right up to it. So again, I'm going to have to start over here somewhere and draw. And you can see now that I draw it, it says 30 foot of inclined ramp created, 0 remaining. Remember last time it said 90 remaining, okay, because it was trying to go up to level 2. Now I think Revit is smart enough to set everything on here just like it is supposed to be. Okay, I'm going to just go ahead and change that back to 12 because 12 is going to be that legal limit. Now I can go above 12. I can go up to 15, which is going to make it a more shallower ramping than it does right here. Now it says I have 18 remaining. Okay, so to keep it legal, I need to draw it out, 18 more. Okay, I still have 2 foot 6 inches remaining. And I don't know if it's going to actually stop automatically where it needs to. We're going to test it and see. Now I'm negative 14 feet 6 inches. Okay, so I'm going to try to draw it back. And this time I'm going to look at those numbers and kind of read it. Now, sometimes they're hard to read because they start to get all jumbled up and stuff. And they have like text printed over text, as you probably saw as I was doing that earlier. So now I should be right. And where did it go? There it is. So 48 feet inclined ramp created, 0 inches remaining. Now this would be a perfectly legal because, well, I'll show you in a minute. Let me go ahead and hit the green check mark because if I go in here to edit type, 12, 1 in 12, that is my minimum. I got to have that at least. I can't have this number less than 12 to be legal. Okay. Now I don't remember what they want you to set on the test. I want to say it was actually a number less than 12, but that's okay. Just do what it tells you to do because it's just testing you to see if you know how to use it. And of course, whatever they have you doing it on, it may be perfectly legal because it could be someone's personal residence. And in that case, they can actually do that. All right. So now I want to slide the ramp out to here to make sure that I go to all the way to the right place. I'm going to put a section on it like so, and then double click. And see, it is perfect. So I'm going to click on the ramp and I'm going to move it up to here. Maybe get a little closer. Perfectly right there. Okay, now some other things you can do on these ramps. And let's go into 3D view to kind of get a 3D view of this. I need to create one first. Okay, so there's our ramp. It's a pretty long ramp. Okay, and you probably would want the ramp to change directions, but I'll show you how to do that later. All right, so here we can actually edit things like your railing. So here I have the railing selected, and I can go in here to the type selector and change the type of railing. So maybe I want guardrail or handrail pipe. Let's do handrail pipe. Now look real close at the handrail, click on the handrail pipe, and you see how everything has turned into more of a pipe type construction. We'll do the same thing on this one. Okay. And for a commercial building, or really any kind of building, I think pipe is probably the most convenient of those. Let's see. Then, of course, we can click on the rail again and go into edit type. And there's all sorts of things that we can change in here. We cannot change the rail height because 3 foot is the minimum height that it has to be. And Revit will just not let us mess with that. We can mess with the, let's see, what is this? Baluster offset. So we can change the baluster offset. I'm not sure. Well, I could do like a negative 1 foot and see what it looks like. I don't think it's going to come out good. And click apply. And I really can't see what it did there. So let's do this. Let's just go ahead and okay. What did it do? Honestly, I couldn't tell you. Oh, I see. It offset it from the edge of where we drew it. And as you can see, that's not a good idea because we got all our horizontal pieces all the way out here to the outside, and then our vertical pieces and our rail over here. So we have to fix that. We can't leave it like that. It's not going to work for us. Just put it back to 0. And now we should see it all pop back together. There we go. And it's where it needs to be. You probably can't really think off the top of your head in some situations where you would need that. That's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. So you can do all sorts of other things. You can actually change the material that, it's made of and add even more layers of railing. Right now we have 5 layers, but we can add 6 or 7 different layers of railing. And just to show you what that is right here. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if we needed more railing in there, we could do that. Maybe we wanted it to be child-proof, and we wanted to put the railings and even the balusters a bit closer. Okay, so those are just some of the things you can do. Okay, now if you were actually putting this on a building or a house, either one, putting one of these ramps on, you wouldn't want it to be this really long ramp such as this one right here that would probably stick out in the road or take up so much of the yard or what have you. You probably want it to be more like a switchback situation where it kind of goes in one direction, then switches around to the other direction before it makes its final run home. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to move that out of the way, is we'll kind of create one with switchbacks. And we go architecture, we go to ramp. Okay, ramp run. And I'm just going to kind of start out here somewhere and probably move it in place once I get it drawn. But well, let's say we start the ramp here and go in this direction. Let's say we're going to go about, okay, let's see, we'll go about 10 feet one way, 10 feet 6 inches, doesn't matter. Okay, and then we're going to go in the next direction. Okay, and then move right there, and then we're going to go a little bit in another direction, about here, and then we're just going to keep going until we run out. Oops, there we go, of space. And of course, I also want to turn this thing back into the surface itself. So on this last run, I'm going to come up maybe right here. Okay, and then to make this last bit going this way, I want to make sure that I come out from the side, or right from that end point a little bit further. You don't want to go up in here. You want to go right in here, even with this line, and then draw it this way. Okay, now, of course, as you've noticed, it creates landings, the corners and everything. It creates the landings by itself. Okay, now this is, a little bit of an exaggerated version. I doubt very seriously you're going to ever have to go up 48 feet in, say, this situation right here. But you never know. So let's move this in place. Boom, right there. Now we're going to hit the green check mark, save the project. Then we're going to go look at it in 3D. And there you can see we have our ramp. Okay, now, of course, because we set the level, we had a level that we could set, it, draws everything perfectly up to that level. So that would look something more like you would have, probably not a house. I don't know of many houses that would be 4 feet off the ground. Sometimes your commercial buildings are, depending on where they're at, in what type of environment or what type of topography they're placed on. But that's it. There you go. That's how you do ramps. So I do want you to draw ramps. I want you to draw this first one right here. I want it to be exactly where it should be. Okay. And then I want you to draw this one as well. It doesn't have to be exactly like this one. Just draw another zigzaggy type ramp system and make sure it comes to the proper height. Okay. Okay, now even though we have these associated to a level, we can still change some things. We can change it right over here by adjusting the offsets. And again, we can still change it right here. And again, for the test, this is where you're going to end up changing it. All right, so good luck on that, and just turn in your assignments when you're done.